Shalom Israel, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatam, and Yahweh Shamar Alatan, by Shem Yahshua to all the Akim Akarathian out there. This is the Baltimore Sabbath Service, August 17th, 2024. We'll just be having me up here for the service today. We'll go ahead and start off like we usually do with the prayers. So this is just for the people up here, well, just me up on stage. So my mod, which is stand. La Yashala. Right. All right, this is for everybody. Imadium means to stand. Wapanya Hakwadam, which means rise and face the east. We're going to read the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew, then the English. The Lord's Prayer. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Quadash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Thaba'ah, Ritazayaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'aratazah, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Nathan Lanau, Lakam, Call, Yawam, Wasalak now, Kabawak now, Kasalak now, Kabawaki now, Wala'ah, Tabi'ayin now, Manasaya 1, Abal, Habashai now, Mayan, Ra, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Wahatapa'ara, La'ai Walamyam, Aman, and in the English, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever, so be it. All right, go to the next prayer. This is Hakat, the power, in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Babakushah, Nathan Lanau, Hakat, Hakat, Larapa'ah, Kamaka Allah, Wakol Marawa, Hakat, Latahar, Hamatazarayim, Hakat, Lahakwiyam, Hamakyam, Hakat, Arakawa, Hatama'ala, Lagarashan, Bahashim Yahushua, the word on mine. And in the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahushua, thank you, so be it. All right, going to the next prayer, which is to bless Israel. Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Barak Nanau, Wa Yasha'ala, Wahabayah, Sapari, Barak, Ba'ashim Yahushai, the Wad Armand. And in the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, bless us and Israel and the school. In the name of Yahushai, thank you, so be it. All right, going to the next one. This is Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Aisha, Ayanya, Ahaharian, Ma'ayan, Yaba'a, Isaiah, Ma'ain, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemawan, Wa'arataza, Al-Yathan, Lamawat, Ragolka, Al-Yanawam, Shamarka, Hana, La'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yayashan, Sharamar, Yasha'alam, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al-Yad, Yaminka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'a, Yakaka, Wayarak, Walayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makorah, Yashamar, Apnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'afka, Wa'aka, Mayata, Wa'ai, Awalam. And in the English, I will lift up my eyes into the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth, even forevermore. So be it. Okay, this is Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim, Al-Damayalaka, Al-Takarash, Al-Tashakwat, Al-Kayahana, Awayabyaka, Yahama Yawan, Womashanayaka, Nashawa, Ra'ach, Al-Imaka, Ya'araramwa, Sawa, Wayataya Tazawa, Al-Dazapawanyaka, Amarwa, Lakawa, Winakakina, Magolia, Wala'a, Yasakar, Sham Yasha'al, Iwa, Kaya, Nawa Tazawa, La, Yakagwa, Al Yakab, Baryak, Yakarakwa, Ahoya, Adawam, Wayashamai Alayam, Moa'aba, Wahagarian, Gabal, Wa'amawan, Wa'amalak, Palashat, Amyashabya, Tazawar, Gamashawar, Nalawa, Imam, Hayawa, Zarawa, Labanyalawa, Salah, Aishalaham, Kamanya, Kasayasara'a, Kayabya, Banakal, Kwayashwan, Nishamadwa, Ba'ayanda Ara, Hayawan, Daman, La Adama, Shayatamwa, Nadayabawa, Ka'ara, Wakaza'aba, Wakazabak, Wakazazomana, Kolnasaya Kamu, Ashar, Alahaya, Shayatamwa, Kagogala, Kakwach, Lapanyaraka, Ka'ach, the Ba'ira Ya'ira, Wakalahabam, the Lahat, Haryam, Khan, the Radatma, the Sa'iraka, Wawasapafka, the Bahalam, Mala'a, Banyaham, Kwalawan, Wayabakwashwa, Shamkam, Yahawah, Yabashwa, Wayabahoa, Ayai, Wayakapara, Wayabadwa, Wayadaiwa, Kaya, Atha, Shamka, Yahawah, Labadka, Ayawan, Akal, Arataza, Aman. And in the English, keep not thy silence, O Yahweh. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites, of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Asher is also joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kishon, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like a Reb, and like Zahab. Yea, all their princes as Zabah, and as Zamunah, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of Yahweh in possession. O my power, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid. With thy storm, fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Yahweh, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the Most High over all the earth. So be it. This is the blessing of the power structure. Barakatah Yahweh, wa Yahweh Shah, wa Mayaka Allah, wa Allahayim, Matazab Ya'ah, Alawak Yahana, Ha Alawakim, Ha Saranyim, Ha Kwatazayanyim, Ha Kayayoyim, wa Ha'akwakim, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh, for Wad Aman, and in the English. Bless you, Yahweh, and Yahweh Shah, and Michael, and the angels, Commanding General Yohanan, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shah, thank you, so be it. This is these are the curses in the English. Blessing you, Yahweh, King of heaven and earth, and all things living. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shah, listen to us now, right now. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen that speak against us, thy prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, and the school. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen, and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel that refuse to give to the school. Force their riches to enter to thy sanctuary. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the Edomites, and the nations, and their drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, skinheads, Posse Comitatus, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, National Space Program, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street, open up the internet, and the airwaves, the cable access channels, and the radio channels. Convict the spirit of any of our people that seek to stop us and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in our way or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plague. Let loose all the plague Cause them to go to and fro through the earth and consume them. Let the plagues shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahweh Shai, Michael and Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and punish them, all the heathen that come up against us as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media, throughout the whole world. Cause it to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you always. So be it. Sorry. Turn. Your shop. All right, shop. Right? We are continuing in Genesis. We are in Genesis 16. And of course, let's do a recap. Now, in Genesis 16, we know that Hagar, Sarah gave Hagar to Abraham. Hagar was an Egyptian handmaid of Sarah, or Sarai at this point, and she, because she was barren, she gave her handmaid to pretty much bear a son for Abraham, okay, because traditionally that's what they would do. If they were not able to bear a child, they would have the handmaid bear a son for, so that their husband's lineage could continue, okay, and so that's what Sarai has done, and she gave Hagar to Abraham. Okay, and of course, this did not make Sarah happy though when Hagar became pregnant. So, you know, of course, she would want her husband to bear a child, of course, but she would want it to come from her. You know, not from a bondservant. Okay, so now we're going to continue here. We're in Genesis 16. We're in verse 11. Okay. And, you know, real quick, Sarai was very hard with Hagar, which caused Hagar to flee. Okay. So we're going to start there, where Hagar actually ran from Sarai because she dealt with her very tough. She was tough with her, so pretty much the angel of the Most High told her to come back. Okay, so we're going to read it in Hebrew first and in English. We're in Genesis 16, verse 11. We'll read it in the Hebrew first. Genesis chapter 16, verse 11. We're going to read all the way through verse 16, then we're going to jump to chapter 17, verse 1. Genesis chapter 16, verse 11 in the Hebrew. Wayamar la malak Yahweh hanak harab wayaladath bun wakorath shamwa yashamai Allah kaya shamai Yahweh all anyak. Verse 12. Waha Yahaya Para'ah Adam, Yadwa, Bakal, Wayad, Kal, Bawa, Wa'al, Punya, Kal, Akua, Yashakan, verse 13, Wathakwara, Sham, Yahweh, Hadabar, Alya, Ata, Al, Ra'aya, Kaya, Amara, Hagam, Halam, Ra'ayathya, Akarya, Ra'aya, verse 14, Al, Khan, Kwara, Labar, Ba'ar, Lakaya, Ra'aya, Hana, Bayan, Kordash, Wabayan, Barak, Barad, verse 15. Wathalad, Hagar, La'abaram, Ban, Wayakorah, Abaram, Shum, Bunwa, Ashar, Yaladah, Hagar, Shammai Allah. Verse 16. Wa Abaram, Bun, Shamanyam, Shana, Washasha, Shunyam, Baladath, Hagar, Af, Yashamai Allah, Abaram. Genesis chapter 17, verse 1 in the Hebrew. Wayahaya, Abaram, Bun, Thashayam, Shana, with Thashai, Shunyam, Wayara'ah, Wayahawa, Al, Abaram, Wayamar, Alyawa, Anya, Al, Shadya, with Halak, Lapunya, Wahaya, Thamayam. Verse 2. Wa'athana, Baryathya, Bayanya, Wabayanka, Wa'arabah, Awathka, Bama'ad, Ma'ad. And that's it. All right, we're going to be reading this in the English. If anybody has any questions, they can ask. This is Genesis chapter 16, verse 11 in the in the English. Genesis chapter 16, verse 11. And the angel of the Most High said unto her, and he's talking to Hagar. And the angel of the Most High said unto her, Behold, thou art with child. Okay, because she fled out from Sarai. So she's kind of just a wanderer right now. And shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Most High hath heard thy affliction. Officer Hazahah makes a good point. A Hebrew name is a sentence that is condensed. So, when define the meaning of a Hebrew name, you usually the Bible will tell us what the name means, because the Most High hath heard thy affliction. So he heard thy affliction. So Ishmael is a name that is condensed, meaning here, because in the Hebrew it's Shammai, and Shammai means here, So Shammai Allah, okay, Yashamai Allah, okay, comes. Somebody's at the door? Okay, the wild. 1 second. I didn't even hear that. Oh, okay. All right. So like it says, we're in Genesis 16, and we're in verse 11. Okay. So Ishmael's name, Yashamai Allah, it means kind of like he has heard. And what did he hear? Remember, a name in Hebrew is a sentence that is condensed. So he had heard what? What did he hear? He heard, the Most High had heard Hagar's affliction. Okay? So that's what, Yashamai Allah really means. Okay? The Most High heard Hagar's affliction. Okay, verse 12. And he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. Okay? And Ishmael's descendants, okay, the Arabs. All right, they're the descendants. Ishmael, they came from Ishmael. okay? And, eventually, with the religion of Islam, it's a wild religion, okay? Everywhere they spread the religion through warfare. They were wild. They were men, just like Esau was a wild man. He was a hunter, okay? It's the same context, wild man. And will be against every man. If you didn't convert to Islam, you died, okay? Absolutely. Good point too. Even with that religion, even in the prisons, if you want protection, you better convert. So it's the same concept. And every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. Okay, like Officer Hazaha said, you see halal stores everywhere. Okay, everywhere you'll see it. Okay, verse 13. And she called the name of the Most High that spoke unto her. Thou power seest me, for she said, Have I also here looked after him that seeth me? Verse 14. Wherefore the well was called Beer Lahai. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. Verse 15. And Hagar bare Abram a son, and Abram called his son's name, which Hagar bare, Ishmael. Okay, so this is what Ishmael was. So Ishmael is, so the Arabs are descendants of Abraham. They also come from Abraham's seed. They just weren't the people, they weren't the seed of the promise. Okay, the children of Israel, which came from Isaac and Jacob, were the seed of promise. Okay, verse 16. And Abram was 86 years old. 86, 86 years old. Okay, a score is 20. You multiply 4 times 20, you get 80, and 6 years old. And when Hagar bare Ishmael to Abram. Okay, this is Genesis chapter 17, verse 1. And when Abram was 9 years old and 9, okay, the Most High appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the almighty power. Walk before me and be thou perfect. And what does that mean to be perfect? Okay, perfect means that you are keeping the stat. You're a law-abiding individual. You're keeping or upholding. You're doing what the Most High says. Okay. Now at that time of Abraham, they didn't have the written law that was written out. But Abraham obeyed the Most High, so that's why he was blameless. He did what the Most High said to do. He walked before him, was blameless. The Most High said, get out of your country. He did it. The Most High said, you need to, we'll read. The Most High gives him another commandment. He did it, okay? So he's blameless because he's doing what the Most High said to do. Verse 2, and I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee seed exceedingly. Does anybody remember the covenant that he promised Abram? Anybody remember? What was the covenant that he promised him? All right, the covenant he promised him was the land of Canaan, that whole land, okay? And it's not just that little slither that you see on the map. This is Israel today. That whole land of Canaan goes from Saudi Arabia, even over to Egypt, over to some parts, I believe, of Iraq, up to even parts of Turkey. It's a lot of land that's supposed to be ours, okay? All right, well, which is ours. It's the Most High's, and, he'll do what he needs to do to remove the nations like he's removed before so that we can dwell in the land, okay? What we need to do is keep the law, statutes, and commandments, all right? All right, let's keep it moving. Now we're in Genesis 17. We're going to read verses 2 through 8 in the Hebrew and then in the English. Genesis chapter 17. Verse 2. I think I read the English 2, wasn't supposed to, but okay, my mistake. Genesis chapter 17, verse 2. Thana, Bar Yathya, Bayunya, Wabayanka, Wa'araba, Wa'athka, Ma'ad, verse 3. Wayapal, Abaram, Al, Punyawa, Wayadabar, Athwa, Alahayim, Alayam, La'amar, verse 4. Anya, Hana, Bar Yathya, Athak, Waha Thathath, Waha Yayath, La'aba, Hama 1, Golium, verse 5. Wala'ah, Yaquarah, Iwad, Af, Shamka, Abaram, Wahaya, Wahaya, Shamka, Abaraham, Kaya, Abba, Hamaram, Golyam, Nathathiyaka, verse 6. Wahaparathia, Afka, Ma'ad, Wanathathiyaka, Lagoyim, Wamalachiam, Mamaka, Yataza'awa, verse 7. Wahamathia, Baryathya, Bayanya, Wabayanka, Wabayan, Zaraika, Akaryaka, Ladarathum, Baryath, Awalam, Lahayawath, Laka, Alahayim, Wala Zaraika, Akaryaka, verse 8. Wanathathya, Laka, Wala Zaraika, Akaryaka, Af, Arataza, Magaryaka, Af, Kal, Arataza, Kana'ain, La'akazath, Awalam, Wahayayathya, Laham, La Alahayim, verse 9. Waya Amar Alahayim. Where am I going to? I went too far. Slack it. That's it. All right. Now we're going to be reading. The book of Genesis, chapter 17. We're going to be reading verses 2 through 8. Genesis chapter 17, verse 2. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. Okay, and when you made a covenant, anciently, something had to be cut. Okay, so remember that. I mean, usually when they made a covenant, something was cut, or something was cut open, or they usually cut something and went through it. Okay, we'll see what is cut here with the covenant. You know what it is? Absolutely. Yep. Give her a hand. All right. And that was a sign of this covenant, was of the circumcision, which we're going to go to. Something was cut. All right. All right. So, verse 3. And Abram fell on his face, and the power talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. And the reason something was cut is because that was like a sign or a token. Okay, it was like a sign. You know how we a lot of times make a signature? Well, a sign that the covenant was made, something is cut. All right? Verse 5, Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be called Abraham. Okay, and so we'll see here why his name is changed to Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee, like a multitude of nations. Okay, so Abraham, remember, his name is condensed. It's the father of like a multitude. Okay, father of many nations. Okay, and the reason he's a father of many nations concerning the seed, because you think of the 12 tribes of Israel. Those are the many nations. It's not talking necessarily about all the other different, like the Ishmaelites and all them that came from. It's talking specifically about the nations that were of the promise. And those nations, the 12 tribes, came from him, which is like a nation itself, a tribe. Okay? So for our father of many nations have I made thee. Verse 6. And I will make thee exceedingly fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. We know the kings that came from the tribe of Judah. You know, they came from Abraham's seed. And when Israel had their own kings, because remember, the nation split. Okay? Verse 7. And I will establish my covenant between me, and thy seed after thee, and their generation for an everlasting covenant. So he's talking about a specific seed, a seed of promise after him. Remember, Ishmael is already born, but he's not talking about Ishmael here. Okay? He's talking about the seed that the Most High chooses. Most High has mercy on who he would like to have mercy on. Most High gets to choose what nation he would like to choose. Okay, that's the Most High's prerogative. Okay, And he said, an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. Verse 8. And I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger. So the part of the covenant was to give them the land. They just had to follow what the Most High said. So part of that covenant was you do what the Most High says, and he will give you the land. Okay? When people make covenants, it's like a contract. Okay? You do this, I do this. It's an agreement. Okay? It's just like, a lot of times when they made a contract, they made a couple copies of something. Like you get a copy, I get a copy. Okay? And that's why if you notice the tablets of stone, the 10 Commandments, there was 2. Because actually all the 10 Commandments was written on each tablets of stone. Okay? 2 copies. Okay? So I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their power. Okay? So he's saying that not only till I make a covenant with you, I make a covenant with the seed. That's why the Most High brought the children of Israel out of Egypt, because of his promise that he made to Abraham. He's made a promise to him and his seed afterwards. And that's why he told the children of Israel to go to the land of Canaan and take it. Also, those nations in the land of Canaan were not keeping the laws the laws of the land. You have to keep the laws of the land to be able to remain in there, or you will be pushed out. Okay? And just like these other nations that are there, they're not keeping it, they're going to eventually be pushed out, because the land will eventually vomit you out. Okay? All right, let's keep it going. Genesis 17, we're reading 9 through 15. Okay? All right, in the Hebrew first. Genesis chapter 17, verse 9 in the Hebrew. Wayamar Alahayim Al Abaraham Tha Af Bar Yathyam the Shamar Atha was Araika Akaryaka Ladaratham. Verse 10. Verse 10. Zaaf Bar Yathya Ashar the Shamarwa Bayunya Waba Yunyakam Waba Yun Saraika Akaryaka Hamawal Lakam called Zakar. Verse 11. Wana Malatham Af Bashar Aralathkam Wahaya La'awaf Warayath Bayunya Wabayunyakam. Verse 12. Wabun, Shamanath, Yum, Yamawal, Lakam, Kol, Zakar, Ladarathyakum, Yalayad, Bayath, Wama Quanath, Kasak, Makal, Bun, Nakar, Ashar, La'ah, Mazaraika, Hawa'ah. Verse 13. Hamawal, Yamawal, Yalayad, Bayathka, Wamaquanath, Kasaka, Wahayatha, Barayathya, Babasharkam, Labaryath, Iwalam. Verse 14. Wa'Iral, so like a Wa'Irala, Zakar, Ashar, La'ah, Yamawal, Bashar, Aralathwa, Wana Karatha, Hana Pash, Hawa'a, Ma'anya, Rayathya, Hapar. Verse 15. Waya Amar, Alayam, Alahayam, Slaki. Abaraham, Sharia, Ashafka, La'ah, Thakra'ah, Shema, Sharia, Kaya, Shara, Shema. That's it. All right, now we'll be reading Genesis 17, 9 through 15. We're going to go ahead and read that in the English. Genesis chapter 17, verse 9 in the English. And the power said unto Abraham, Thou shalt keep my covenant before thee, thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. And the way to keep that covenant is to obey the Most High's words. Pretty much, part of the covenant is to have the Most High be your power. So to keep the covenant, you have to have him be your power, him be your God. Okay, that's how you keep the covenant. That means you got to do what the power says to do, the Most High says to do. That's how you keep the covenant. Verse 10, this is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised. So the sign of the covenant is that the foreskin of the the male's penis shall be circumcised. Verse 11, and ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant between me and you. That's why the males were circumcised, because that was the sign of the covenant. And that's why to keep the covenant throughout the generations, a sign of it was to show that the males would be circumcised. So the males had a reminder of the covenant. They had a physical sign of the covenant with the Most High. Okay? And that's another reason why a woman of Israel should not be with a man of another nation, because she's sleeping with a man that does not have the sign of the covenant on him. Okay? And it's almost like another God is entering her, because he's following after another God. Okay? So that's why she should sleep with a man of Israel, because he is supposed to be following the God of Israel. Now, you have to be keeping the law, statutes, and covenant commandments, because, Israel got to the point they thought their physical circumcision was going to save them. You got to be keeping the covenant as well. You can't just be like, well, you have the sign of the covenant on you, but you also have to keep it. You have to be doing what the Most High says. Verse 12, and he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you. Okay, and medically they have shown that on the 8th day, it's less painful for the child, for the male child. So on the 8th day, when your son is born, that's when he shall be circumcised. I know some doctors or some will try to get it done right away, but you need to wait till the 8th day, okay? Also, you shall be circumcised among you. Every man in your generations, he that is born in the house or brought with money of any stranger which is not of thy seed, okay? Anybody that's dwelling within the gates of Israel, they have to have that physical circumcision done, okay? Even the slave, because they're going to have to do what the master says as well, okay? Verse 13, he that is born in thy house and he that is bought with thy money must needs be circumcised. And my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. Verse 14, and the uncircumcised man child, whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He hath broken my covenant. Okay? Because if you don't have that, you don't have the sign of the covenant. Okay? You don't have the, you're not agreeing to that covenant. Okay? Something has to be cut. Verse 15, and the power said unto Abraham, as for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name anymore Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. Okay, so Sarai's name was changed to Sarah. All right, and that's it for that one. All right, we're now reading Genesis 6:17. We're reading verses 16 through 22 in the Hebrew. Okay. All right, Genesis chapter 17, verse 16. Wabarak, Wabarakathya, Atha, Wagum, Nathathya, Mamana, Laka, Bun, Wabarakathya, Wahayatha, Lagoyim, Maglachya, Anyam, Mamana, Yahayawa, verse 17. Wayapal, Abaraham, Al, Panyawa, Wayatazakwa, Wayatazakwak, Wayamar, Balabwa, Halaban, Ma'aha, Shana, Yawalad, Wa'am, Shara, Habath, Thashayim, Shana, Thalad, verse 18. Wayamar, Abaraham, Al, Ha-Alahayim, Lawa, Yashamai Allah, Yahaya, Yahya, Lapanyaka, verse 19. Verse 19. Wayamar Alahayim, Abal, Shara, Ashafka, Yaladath, Laka, Bun, Wayakorath, Ath, Shamwa, Yatazakwak, Wahakwamathya, Ma'ath, Baryathya, Athwa, Labarayath, Iwalam, Lazariwa, Akaryawa. Verse 20. Waya Yashamai Allah, Yashamai Yach, Salakia, with Shemai Yakah, with Shemaith Yakah, Salakia, Shemaith Yakah, Hana, Barakathya, Athwa, Waha Paryathwa, Athwa, Waha Baryathya, Athwa, Ma'ad, Shunyam, Aishar, Nashaya Yawa Yad, Wana Thafyawa, Lagoya, Gadawal, verse 21. Wa'af, Barayathya, Aquayam, Af, Yatazakak, Yatazakwak, Ashar, Thawlad, Laka, Sharab, Lama Wa'aid, Hazah, Bashanab, Ha'akaraaf. Verse 22. Wayakal, Ladabar, Athwa, Waya'al, Alayam, Ma'al, Abaraham, and that's it. All right, we're now going to be reading Genesis chapter 17. We're going to be reading 16 through 22 in the English. And I will, Genesis chapter 17, verse 16. And I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she will be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Okay? And, you know, Sarah's name kind of means like a princess type thing. It's like a princess, and many kings will come from her. All right? Verse 17. Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And so Sarah, that is 90 years old, bear. And that's why we'll see the relationship of their son's name to what Abraham is doing. Abraham is laughing about it. Okay? He's laughing that it's like he's 100 years old. Am I going to have a kid? It's a geriatric type pregnancy for Sarah. And so, you know, that's a very scary pregnancy. Okay, verse 18. And Abraham said unto the power, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. He's thinking it's talking about Ishmael. And the Most High said, and the power said, verse 19, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. So Most High is making a distinction. He's going to establish the covenant with Isaac's seed and his descendants, not Ishmael. Okay, and Isaac actually means, the name has to do with laughter, because this is hilarious to Abraham. I have a son at 100 years old? Must be crazy. And my wife at 90? Verse 20, as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Before I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall beget, and I will make him a great nation. Okay, and you know, the nations came from the Ishmaels. That's where you got Saudi Arabia. That whole, you know, that was the Saudis and the Arabs that came together, you know, but that nations come from this, you know, him. Okay? Verse 21, but my covenant, this is the distinction, will I establish with Isaac. Okay, he's not establishing with, that's why, like he established the covenant with Jacob. They both came from Isaac and Ishmael. Isaac and Ishmael both came from the seed of Abraham, but the Most High made a distinction. And this is what happened at the beginning in Genesis. Remember, he made a distinction between two seeds. So the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. He makes a distinction. Right here, he's making a distinction between the two seeds. And you notice the two seeds always had enmity between each other. That's why there's enmity between Ishmael and Isaac's seed. That's why there was enmity between Esau and Jacob. That's why there's enmity today between the seed of Jacob and the seed of Esau. Okay? That goes back to Genesis. There will be enmity always between the seeds because the Most High always chooses one of the seeds. Okay? But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time the next year. Verse 22. And he left off talking with him, and the power went up from Abraham. All right, and that's it. All right, we're now reading Genesis 17. We're reading 23. Go ahead. You said chapter 16? Uh-huh. Yes. Yes. Hagar, yes. Hagar, yes. Hagar was an Egyptian handmaid. She bore Ishmael. Well, she was pregnant. She became pregnant with Ishmael. And then Sarah started treating her very unkindly. No, Hagar left. Hagar got pushed out because Sarah was treating her very mean. Yes, to return to Abraham. To return to Abraham so she could have the child, and then, for the time being, he told her to return. Because she was pretty much out in one. And one of the things you got to think about is that she was with child. The Most High didn't want Ishmael at that time to die. If they would have wandered, Ishmael would have died. There's obviously a reason the Most High wanted Ishmael to live, because he said he was going to make him a nation as well. And, the Most High is going to keep that, what he said. He's going to keep that promise that he said. So if they'd have just left her out at that time, her and the child would have died. Yeah, the Most High made a problem. He opened up her womb, pretty much. The Most High opened up. There's a lot of women in the Bible that were barren, and then the Most High would open up their womb. It's just like kind of like nowadays, women were like, I can't have a baby. Something's going on, and then all of a sudden, a miracle happens. It pretty much is like a miracle. Because there's a number of women that just for years, So this was the situation that Sarah, she just couldn't have a child at this time, and we don't know how. Abraham was 86. Abraham and Sarah were 10 years apart. So Abraham was 86 when Ishmael was born, and now he's 100. Yeah, so this is 14 years later, pretty much, or 13 years later. I think this is Ishmael's about 100. So he's about, I guess this was his 100th year. So Sarah was barren all those years. Even after Ishmael was born, she was barren another 13, 14 years. Actually 15 if you think about it, because he said at this time next year. So that's a long time that she was barren. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's, I'm not a woman, but I'm just going what I've seen. I've seen, women that, are not having, will try other means, because it's frustrating. I'm not a woman, so I don't know the frustration, but I've seen women that are frustrated when they are not able to have a child, and everybody else is around them is bearing. So probably it was her frustration, her humanity. It's like, so a lot of times, just like the story with Leah and Rachel, those two sisters. Remember, Leah was just having children. Leah was very fertile. Rachel couldn't have them, so Rachel did the same thing. I'll give you my handmaid so that, so that he can have something that, that I have possession of, so it's the same thing, but good point though. All right. Did I answer your question? Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and we're in Genesis 17. We're reading 23 through 27, then we're jumping to Genesis 18, 1 through 2. Let me see. Okay. All right, Genesis 17, we're in reading the Hebrew first. Genesis 17, verse 23 in the Hebrew. Wayakwak, Abraham, Af, Yeshamai Allah, Bunwa, Wa'af, Call, Yala Yadwa, Ya. Bayahwa, Wa'af, call, Makwanaf, Kasatwa, call, Zakar, Ba'anashia, Bayah, Abraham, Wayamal, Af, Bashar, Aralatham, Ba'itazam, Hayawam, Hazah, Ka'ashar, Dabar, Athwa, Alahayim. Verse 24. Wa Abaraham, Bun, Fa'ishayam, with a Shai, Shana, Bahamawa, Bashar, Aralathwa. Verse 25. With Shammai Allah, Bunwa, Bun, Shalash, Aishara, Shana, Bahamawa, Af, Bashar, Aralathwa. Verse 26. Ba'itazam, Hayawam, Hazah, Namawal, Abaraham, Waya Shammai Allah, Bunwa. Verse 27. Wakal, Anashia, Bayathwa, Yalayad, Bayath, Wama Quanaf, Kasat, Ma'af, Bun, Nakar, Namola, Athwa. This is Genesis chapter 18, verse 1 in the Hebrew. Wayara'ah, ala Yahweh, Yahweh, Ba'alalanya, Mamara'ah, Wahawa'ah, Yeshab, Pathak, Ha'ahal, Chacham, Hayawam. Verse 2. Wayasha'ah, Ayanyawa, Wayara'ah, Wayara'ah, Wahana, Shalasha, Anashia, Natazabyam, Alyawa, Wayara'ah, Wayarataza, Lara Quaratham, Mapathak, Ha'ahal, Wayashatakwa, Aratazaha, and that's it. All right, we're going to now be looking at Genesis chapter 17. We're going to read 23 through 27, and then jump to 18, 1 through 2 in the English. Genesis chapter 17, verse 23. And Abraham took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and all that were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin in the selfsame day, as the power had said unto him. Verse 24. And Abraham was 90 years old and 9 when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. Okay, so he was 99 years old. And verse 25, Ishmael his son was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. Verse 26, and the selfsame day was Abraham circumcised, and Ishmael his son, and all the men of his house born in the house, and bought with money the stranger, were circumcised with him. So everybody that was born in the house had the sign of the covenant, okay? Everybody that was in that house. Verse 18, or chapter 18, so this is Genesis 18, verse 1. And the Most High appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent of the door in the heat of the day. Verse 2, and he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself toward the ground. All right? So we're going to see, it says the Most High visited him. Now, when it's saying that, we know it's not, remember Yahweh said nobody's heard the Father's voice or seen him at any time. So when it's saying the Most High, what does that really mean? Okay, can anybody explain that? Because it says 3 men came and saw him, and it says the Most High. How can we explain this? Anybody know? Okay, well, of course, these are representatives of the Most High, okay? It's just like, when we say, okay, it's like when we represent the Most High, Yahweh Shai, ISP, our Commander General Yohana. When we're doing the food drives, certain parts, everybody's doing a food drive all part of the world, Commander General Yohana is not literally there, but we're saying Commander General Yohana is feeding his people, okay? Because Commander General Yohana is, the leader. So it's just like, so when it's saying the Most High came to visit them, his representatives came, okay? And they're coming in his name, okay? It's just like you come in the name of a king, or you come in the name of a president. When the president, bombs or, destroys or unalives somebody, they'll say whoever was behind it, but, he's not out there with the Marines doing it. They're representatives. So they represent him. They're coming in his, he signed off on it. Okay, so the Most High sent these representatives, and obviously one outranked the other two, because Abraham sat and talked to the highest ranking one. Okay, and we'll get to that. All right. So now we're in Genesis chapter 18, 3 through 10. We're going to read it in the Hebrew and then in the English. Genesis chapter 18, verse 3. Waya Amar, Adunya, Na'a, Mataza Afya, Han, Ba'ayanyaka, Al, Na'a, Fa'aibar, Ma'al, Ibadka. Verse 4. Yakwak, Na'a, Ma'ait, Mayam, Warakatazawa, Ragal Yakam, Waha Shainawa, Fakaf, Ha'aitaza, verse 5. Wa'akwaka, Paf, Lakam, Wasa'aid, Wa, Labkam, Akar, Fa'aibarwa, Kaya, Al, Kan, Ibaratham, Al, Ibadkam, Wa'ayamarwa, Kan, Fa'aisha, Ka'ashar, Dabarath, verse 6. Wayamahar, Abaraham, Ma'awala, Al, Shara, Wayamar, Maharia, Shalash, Sa'ayam, Aquamak, Salaf, Lawashya, Aishaya, Igawath, verse 7. Verse 7. Wa'al, Habakwar, Ratazah, Abaraham, Wayakwak, Bun, Bakwar, Rak, Watawab, Wayathan, Al, Hana'ir, Wayamahar, La'aishawaf, Afwa, verse 8. Wayakwak, Hamaha, Wakalab, Waban, Habakwar, Ashar, Aisha, Wayathan, Lapanyaham, Waha, Aimad, Iwayaham, Fakaf, Ha'aitaza, Wayakaliwa. Verse 9. Waya Amarwa, Alyawa, Aya, Shara, Ashafka, Wayamar, Hana, Ba'ahal, verse 10. Wayamar, Shawab, Ashawab, Alyaka, Ka'if, Haya, Wahana, Bun, Washara, Ashafka, Washara, Shamaith, Pathak, Ha'ahal, Wahawa'a, Acharyawa. And that's it. All right, we're going to be reading, now we're going to read this in the English. We're going to be reading Genesis chapter 18, 3 through 10 in the English. Genesis chapter 18, verse 3. And said, let me go back. Okay. Right, Abraham ran to meet the three men. Verse 3, and he said, my Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Verse 4, let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. Verse 5, and I will fetch a morsel of bread, and comfort ye your hearts. After that ye shall pass on, for therefore are ye come to your servant. And they said, so do, and thou hast said. Verse 6, and Abraham hastened unto the tent unto Sarah, and said, make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes upon the hearth. Okay, so Abraham is being very brotherly here. He's showing brotherhood, okay, to these representatives of the Most High, okay, and he's showing how you should treat a representative of the Most High, okay. Verse 7, and Abraham ran unto the herd and fetched a calf tender and good, and gave it unto a young man, and he hastened to dress it. And you also got to remember, too, how Abraham is humbling. Abraham was a man of power as well. But you see, when he sees men that are greater than him, how he humbles himself, okay? He's humbling himself. He sees that there are representatives that are greater than who he is, So what does he do? So instead of representing the Most High, he humbled himself and made himself a servant. Okay, verse 8. And he took butter and milk and the calf which he had dressed and set it before them, and he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat. So he made them food and sat by and made sure they ate. Remember, Abraham had servants. Okay? You know, some people nowadays, when they're in a position of power, they cannot humble themselves for anything. Okay? They can't, take the, they can't, let their brother outshine them. They can't do that. They got to be always at the center. See Abraham's attitude. Verse 9. And they said unto him, where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, behold, in the tent. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life, and lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door which was behind them. So Sarah heard the conversation. And they're talking about Sarah. Okay? All right, let's continue. We're going to be reading Genesis 18, 11 through 17. This is the last one for today. All right, we're going to read in the Hebrew first. Genesis chapter 18, verse 11. Waba Abaraham, Washara, Zaquanyam, Ba'ayam, Bayamyam, Chodal, Lahayawaf, Lashara, Arak, Kanashiam, verse 12. With a Tazakak, Shara, Bakwaraba, La'amar, Akarya, Balafya, Hayata, Laya, Idana, Wa'adanya, Zaquan, verse 13. Wa'yamar, Yahweh, Al, Abaraham, Lama, Za, Tazakakwa, Shara, La'amar, Ha'at, Amanam, Alad, Wa'anya, Zaquanathya, verse 14. Verse 14. Hayapala'a, Mayahawa, Dabar, Lama Wa'aid, Ashawab, Alayaka, Ka'aif, Haykhaya, Wala Shara, Bun, verse 15. Watha Kash, Shara, La'amar, La'a, Tazakwathya, Kaya, Raha, Wayamar, La'a, Kaya, Tazakwath. Verse 16. Waya Kwamwa, Masham, Ha'anashiam, Waya Shakwakwa, Al, Panya, Saddam, Wa'abaraham, Halak, Imam, Lasha Lakam, verse 17. Wayahawa, Amar, Hamakasa, Anya, Ma'abaraham, Ashar, Anya, Aisha, and that's it. All right, let's go ahead and read this in the English. This is the last scripture for today. This is Genesis chapter 18, verse 11 in the English. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. Verse 12. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? Verse 13. And when it says after Sarah being ceased to be after the manner of women, I'm assuming, and I'll check with Cap about this, that she probably wasn't even on her cycle anymore. She ceased after the manner of women. She's 90. Okay, so menopause is already set in. Verse 12. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I'm waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? Verse 13. And the Most High said unto Abraham, wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I of a surety bear a child which I am old? Which is verse 14. Is anything too hard for the Most High? At the appointed time I will return unto thee, according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. So Sarah's laughing at that. Remember, Abraham and Sarah both laughed at the same matter, like, this is ludicrous. I'm going to have a child at this age? Verse 15. That's why Isaac's name has to do with laughter, okay, and rejoicing. okay? And, and we'll talk about maybe next week how Isaac has a connection with Yahushua. Because Yahushua said, Abraham rejoiced to see my day, saw it, and was glad. Okay? Rejoice. When you rejoice, you're laughing and having fun, and you're glad. So that's, Isaac was, a child that brought joy to that family. Okay? That's why his name is Laughter. All right. Did you have a question, sister? Oh, okay. Then Sarah denied, saying, I laugh not. Verse 15, then Sarah denied, saying, I laugh not, for she was afraid. And he said, no, but thou didst laugh. They said, no, you were laughing. Okay, verse 16, and the men rose up from thence and looked towards Sodom, and Abraham went with them to bring them on their way. Verse 17, and the Most High said, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I will do? Okay, so the two men, there was three of them, two men went towards Sodom. Okay, they went towards Sodom, we'll find out. And the highest ranking representative stayed, and talked with Abraham, all right? And that's it. All right, is there any questions? All right, so next week we'll find out. We'll still continue with the story with Abraham and him talking to the Most High as the men go towards Sodom. All right, this is just for myself up here. Imad. La Yashala. All right, this is for everybody. Imadium. Wapanya Hakwadam means rise and face the east. Okay, we're going to read the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew, then in the English. The Lord's Prayer. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwafka, the Ba'ah, Retazayaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'aratazah, Kawa, Hayah, Bashemayim, Nathan Lanawa, Lakam, Kal, Yawam, Wasalak now, Kabawak now, Katsalak now, Kabawak now, Wala'ah, Labia'ayan now, Manasaya 1, Abal, Hawishawi now, Mayan, Ra, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Wahatapa Araf, La'aywayamum, Aman. And in the English, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Saw, which means to turn. Right? This concludes the service. Sisters, I'm going to give you one courtesy salute. I'll just do the Mahdi Shabbat myself. Mahdi Shabbat, Ahmadiyim, Barak, Yahweh Shamar Alatham, Ba'ashim Yahushua, Yahya Matah, class dismissed.